What if video games feel better than real life for a reason? Why can a digital world feel more satisfying than the one we actually live in? Because games are not just entertainment. They are machines designed to solve a problem real life often leaves unresolved: the problem of effort without clear reward. In this video, we are going to explore why video games can feel more meaningful, motivating, and emotionally rewarding than ordinary life, and what that reveals about the way the human mind is built. Video games feel artificial, but the reaction they create in us is not artificial at all. From a scientific point of view, games activate systems in the brain related to motivation, reward, learning, attention, and progress tracking. Real life also activates those systems, of course, but often in a much messier way. In ordinary life, rewards are delayed, feedback is vague, effort is inconsistent, and success can depend on factors outside our control. In games, the opposite is true. The rules are clear, the feedback is immediate, the goals are visible, the progress is measurable. That difference matters more than most people realize. Psychological research has long shown that human beings are strongly motivated by competence, autonomy, and clear progress. These ideas appear across scientific work on motivation and behavioral psychology. A person tends to feel more engaged when they know what to do, when they can see themselves improving, and when effort reliably leads somewhere. Video games compress those conditions into a clean, powerful loop. There is also scientific evidence that reward systems in the brain respond strongly not only to reward itself, but to anticipation, prediction, novelty, and reinforcement patterns. This is one reason leveling up, unlocking new gear, hearing achievement sounds, or completing missions can feel so satisfying. These are not random tricks. They are direct signals to ancient motivational circuits that evolved to help us learn and persist. One classic scientific line of research in psychology showed that behavior becomes especially persistent when rewards are delivered on variable schedules. In simple terms, if a reward is possible but not perfectly predictable, the brain stays highly engaged. That same principle helps explain why loot systems, rare drops, matchmaking wins, streaks, and uncertain outcomes can become so compelling. The uncertainty does not weaken motivation, it can amplify it. But the real reason games often feel better than life goes deeper than dopamine or reward loops. Games are better structured versions of reality. A game gives you something real life often fails to give: a readable interface. You know the mission, you know the rules, you know when you are improving, you know when you fail, you know what to try next. It is like comparing a clean digital map to wandering through a city with no signs, no street names, and no clear destination. In both cases you are moving, but only one feels coherent. Real life is full of invisible progress. You can work hard for weeks and still feel like nothing changed. You can become wiser, stronger, calmer, more disciplined, and still receive no immediate signal that it mattered. Many of the most valuable gains in life are slow, abstract, and difficult to measure. Games remove that uncertainty. They turn growth into bars, levels, points, ranks, currencies, inventories, and milestones. They make improvement visible. That visibility is deeply rewarding. Games also create a powerful relationship between action and consequence. Press a button, something happens. Make the right move, you survive. Practice a skill, you improve. Explore a system, it reveals itself. Real life often breaks this relationship. People work hard and get ignored. They make good choices and still lose. They improve and nobody notices. The world does not always return effort in a way the mind can easily recognize. Games do. This makes games feel fairer than life, even when they are difficult. Another reason games can feel more rewarding is that they offer calibrated difficulty. A well-designed game keeps you near the edge of your ability. Not too easy, or it becomes boring. Not too hard, or it becomes discouraging. This zone is psychologically powerful. It is where focus deepens, self-consciousness fades, and the task becomes absorbing. In everyday life, difficulty is rarely calibrated. A job can be painfully repetitive. A long-term goal can feel impossibly large. Real life often gives us chaos at one moment and monotony at another. Games are designed to balance challenge with growth. They are controlled struggle, and that may be one of their deepest appeals. Human beings do not only want pleasure, we also want meaningful resistance. We want obstacles that can be faced, patterns that can be learned, and worlds that make sense if we pay attention. A game provides all of that. It gives us friction without total confusion. It gives us danger without true destruction. It gives us failure without permanent collapse. It allows us to rehearse effort in an environment where effort still feels worth something. Games also give identity in a form real life often withholds. In a game, you are rarely undefined. You are a builder, a survivor, a strategist, a healer, a fighter, a leader, a rival, a creator. The game reflects your actions back to you. It tells you who you are becoming through mechanics. Real life often leaves identity blurry. You may feel capable, but unrecognized. You may have values, but no structure to express them. You may be changing internally while your external role stays exactly the same. Games reduce that ambiguity. They mirror competence back to the player. That mirror can become emotionally powerful, especially for people who feel unseen in ordinary life. Socially, games can also outperform reality. In many games, cooperation is immediate, roles are clear, shared goals are obvious. Success depends on coordination. Even competition can feel cleaner because the rules are explicit. In ordinary life, relationships are more ambiguous. Intentions are mixed. Recognition is inconsistent. People may matter to each other deeply without knowing how to show it. In games, contribution is often legible. You helped the team, you protected someone, you carried the match, you built something together. That clarity can feel surprisingly meaningful. There is also the issue of emotional density. Games are concentrated experience. In a short period of time, you can face danger, solve problems, make decisions, improve, fail, recover, win, explore, and transform. Real life contains these elements too, but usually spread across much longer periods. A month of real effort may produce less visible emotional payoff than one evening in a game. The brain does not always measure value by what is objectively more important. It often responds to what is immediate, structured, and emotionally legible. So when someone says games feel better than life, they may not be saying life is worthless. They may be saying life has become unreadable. If that is true, then the lesson is not simply to blame games for being too attractive. The deeper question is why reality so often fails to provide the motivational architecture the mind is looking for. Maybe the problem is not that games are fake. Maybe the problem is that many modern lives are badly designed from the perspective of the human nervous system. We spend years doing work with delayed feedback, chasing goals we did not choose, moving through systems with unclear rules, and comparing ourselves inside environments that rarely reveal true progress. Then we enter a game and suddenly everything becomes legible. The mission is visible. The effort counts. The growth shows up. The world responds. Of course that feels better. If this is true, then one implication is that games are not just distractions. They are competitors. They compete with reality by offering a cleaner motivational structure. Another implication is that many people are not addicted only to pleasure. They may be starving for feedback, competence, momentum, and coherent challenge. Another is that when someone escapes into games, they may not be running away from effort. They may be running toward a form of effort that still makes psychological sense. Another implication is practical. If real life is going to feel more rewarding, it may need to borrow some design principles from games. Clear goals, visible progress, smaller missions, faster feedback, measurable learning, better challenge calibration. In other words, life may become more motivating when it becomes more trackable. And maybe the most important implication is psychological. If games feel more meaningful than reality, that does not automatically mean the player is weak, lazy, or broken. It may mean the brain is responding rationally to a system that was built to engage it more effectively than daily life currently does. That does not mean games should replace life. It means life may need to be rebuilt in a way the mind can actually feel. Video games are not more rewarding because they contain more truth than reality. They are more rewarding because they translate effort, progress, and meaning into a language the brain can immediately understand. And once you see that, the real question changes. The question is no longer why games are so powerful. The question is why real life so often hides its rewards so badly. Lucid order. Question everything.